Hi everyone and welcome to the All Things ITSM Global Podcast. We're coming to you from SITS. I'm Kirsty McGowan and I'm here with Simone Jo Moore.
Hello.
Suresh GP.
Hello everybody.
And we're talking to Lou Honeybee this afternoon. Hello.
Well, Lou, lots of talk about what's going on with this new ITIL practitioner.
Yes.
And
the great mystery.
exactly. So please demystify it.
Shed some light on
Let
it for
the
us.
light come forth.
Yes.
Anyone who had the opportunity to attend the webinars last week got a little bit of information about what's going on. Obviously, the announcement that happened in March was quite sketchy in the sense
one way of
that
putting it.
And I was there in Singapore when Peter actually revealed that. And I was tweeting the first one as ITIL practitioner goes, wow, here it comes.
Yeah, well, I think we've all felt for so long that the guidance in the library is valuable. I mean, it's very, very valuable. The fact is, it didn't get in there by accident. The guidance that's in there got there because people tried a lot of different things and figured these are the things that have worked best for the most people. However, that still doesn't solve the challenge of having the right skills, the right experience to be able to leverage your judgment, leverage your people skills, your organizational skills, to be able to, while you're adopting a service management approach, adapt those principles to your organization and make them really work. I mean, you can have the best tools in the world, but if you don't have experience in using them, a cabinet maker, the first time they attempt to use that plane or use that saw is not going to produce fine cabinetry. So how do we help people with kind of a quick start, if you will, to that? We could spend weeks and weeks talking about these skills or helping people with these skills. So that's our biggest challenge, is saying, all right, if we're targeting people who have just finished foundation, or that's the only level that they have finished, so their mind is swimming with ideas and constructs and,
Sure is.
how could we spend a little more time with them and give them some tangible skills that they can take back to their organization and begin to apply them without trying to boil the ocean, without trying to cover everything we know they could benefit from. And we want to try to produce something that is as interactive and case study, scenario driven as is possible to really up the applicability to the real world. So that's what we're attempting to do.
In fact, I was just appealed because I saw the list of architects within the team of ITIL practitioner, and everybody had the kind of inner urge to give back, and that's my worry as well, because you have so much of tons of experience that you need to offload. I'm just wondering how are you going to narrow down the scope?
I'm really going to offload. No, that's absolutely true. But fortunately, we're also experienced enough. I was going to say old enough.
None of us would
I'll take the experience side any day.
Okay. We're experienced enough to recognize that that's one of the key challenges. The first meeting that we had, once we'd all accepted the remit to work on this, that was one of the first things out of everybody's mouths. Well, the very first thing was, this better be really practical or let's not bother doing it. That was the first thing out of all our mouths. The second thing was, okay, let's remember the scope, remember the scope, remember the scope. So,
So if someone wants to do practitioner, does he need to complete foundation and lookout, or what happens to the guys who are already an expert or somewhere completed ITIL foundation, ITIL intermediate expert? Is there going to be a bridge course? I mean, I always ask this because we were from ITIL V to masters, and then we did this bridge course to ITIL expert. What's
we
going to be
don't
there?
care. We don't know. I'm sorry. I'm being so facetious. For this particular offering, I mean, it doesn't mean that there might not be additional offerings later, but this one is targeted for someone who has completed foundation, so foundation will be a prerequisite. And they want to exercise a few practical skills that we consider to be most critical. Absolutely not comprehensive, not possible, but at least very, very critical to success. Now, if a person has already completed foundation and perhaps they've taken some intermediates, or even if they've gotten to expert somehow, it's going to depend for them very much upon what kind of learning have they had.
Right.
We all know
Yeah.
that there are some service providers who deliver classes that are essentially theory,
With 100% pass.
pass the
Yeah.
test. Yeah, that's the objective.
And I was actually talking to someone at home in New Zealand, and I don't know which provider they went through, but he basically came to me after and he said, this was a waste of time. He said, all I learned was how to pass an exam. He'd done the CSI course. He said, I learned how to pass the CSI exam. I did not learn how to apply CSI in my organisation. So where do I go?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there isn't anywhere really I can tell you to go, because there is nowhere that's currently that's going to give you those skills to actually apply that. You just have to take the theory and try and work it out yourself.
Well, and we're all dealing with the logistical challenges around attending a learning event, whether it's virtually or however. That's why when the original intermediate syllabi were written, they explicitly said X amount of hours of work outside of the class, because we were intending for people to have done a lot of reading of the theory and prep before they walked into an intermediate class. So the class wasn't about reviewing just the facts, but it was about talking about applying those things and really doing some things. And there were only a small number of providers who have been really quite diligent about that.
Yeah, providers are definitely not equal, unfortunately.
It is quite unfortunate. And to be fair to the providers, they're under an enormous amount of pressure
Competition.
from not only competition, but also from customers who are saying, well, wait a minute, I'm already taking a person 5 days and putting them in this capability course, and then you want me to give them time to study and read? You're lucky I'm sending them to that.
And also, a lot of people want to know, what are your stats? How many people pass when they do your course? Because they think
That's their ROI.
And to me, I think there's that balance between it's the HR tick in the box. I've got the certificate, done the course. And I think with some of the organisations, as you said, the providers are having this difficulty with those conversations because I don't know if they really understand the value of the knowledge that's coming through those courses and why they need the additional. I think that might be.
The thing is, if your providers are being measured by the number of passes they get, then of course they're going to direct their learning at being able to pass the exam.
Yeah.
Because that is really the only way they can be measured.
Well, and your use of the word value to me is so important. That's after all what we're trying to talk about in service management, period. So are the services that we offer to the business of genuine value to them. Well, the same thing is true of the services that we in the service management industry offer to the practitioners. Is it really of value to them?
I still wonder how much, is there any surveys or anything that have been done about how, not the providers, but the organisations receiving the training actually value the knowledge itself that's being provided through those courses?
I'm not aware of any that have been done with that specific intent. I think also we have to recognize the tendency of people to think that sending someone to a class is the only thing that's necessary for them to apply these principles without having some program or intent or support in an organization. Years ago everybody thought, well, we're going to do a grassroots thing, right? People are going to go to ITIL class and then they're going to come back and there'll be this great big grassroots and before you know it, we'll all be doing ITIL. Whatever that meant.
Implementing ITIL. I love that one.
Well, without anyone at the top of even the IT organization saying out loud and meaning by the evidence that they give by, funding things like that, without anybody at the top of IT thinking that they had any involvement in this at all. They thought that ITIL was something my people do. And the strategic and the tactical aspects of service management being entirely neglected. Well, I'm sorry, there's only so far you're going to go with grassroots efforts unless the organization has committed themselves to improvement.
I went into a customer a while back and sat down with the CIO and started talking about service management, and he just sort of waved his hand and said, no, we bought ITIL 2 years ago. It didn't work.
Okay. I really want to know the box that came in.
So coming
came along with a tool, apparently.
One of the things that was quite fascinating when the ITIL practitioner popped up was it encompasses a lot of the complementing frameworks as opposed to just being bank on ITIL, be it with DevOps, be it with different versions of SIAM and other stuff. And I think that's the need of the hour, because one of the things that we have when we go to corporates and stuff, we said, you know what, as you rightly said, ITIL is no longer working because it's not relevant in terms of the context in the way that we play. So what we are looking at is, can we have a best of breed in the way things have been applied to the context of the organization and deliver business outcomes. And that's where there's a lot of hope and trust among the practitioners. Can you help me?
The thing to keep in mind about practitioner is that because of the time that's planned for this initial offering, we obviously can't teach people DevOps or Agile or something like that. But what we can do with a practitioner, and this is very important for practical application, is to say, all right, you've got these ideas that happen to be documented in a set of books that we call ITIL. When you go back to your organization, leveraging these principles doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens in the context of your organization. So you want to apply the right tool to the right task. If your organization, let's say, has a great commitment to Six Sigma, and that has helped you, well, then you want to leverage these things together. And so that's one of the things as a practitioner you need to be able to do is, what does the landscape look like? What are the things that are our challenges that we think the principles articulated in ITIL can help us with? And are there other areas where our people will get that piece if we use it the way it's articulated in, you know, somebody's version of DevOps, whatever that is. And
True.
well, we all have to.
You went there.
Yeah, I did. I'm evil. Yeah, but I mean, you're not going back to some kind of a green field and Fantasyland where people don't have things already in place.
That's been a very enlightening chat. I've learned a lot more about practitioner than I was aware, because unfortunately wasn't able to get to the webinars last week. I assume they're recorded. People can go and listen to them. So if they go to the Axelos,
they should be able to download it from the Axelos website.
So I'd certainly recommend people actually go and do that so they can perhaps understand a little bit more.
And is the webinar that you did, because I sat in on that webinar listening to your dulcet tones, it was great. Is the webinar on the website as well for them to listen to about it?
And I believe also that the frequently asked questions that was published in March is now going to be updated since the team has begun to work on it and we have more shape. So we don't want to have something out there that is saying things that they were planning it to be true then, but now maybe things have evolved.
I guess perhaps one more question. When do you think the work will be finished?
Well, I don't know.
She's very cautious.
Q4 is when it is planned to be able to take the first examinations.
Fantastic.
That's the
That's
marching
a
orders.
pretty short
It's pretty aggressive.
Is that the pilot examinations or?
You'll have to wait and watch.
The live one?
It's one of them. We
well, good luck, because
it's anticipated to be the live exam.
That's a pretty short development time for you and your team. So
well, and keep in mind that also the ATOs are going to want to put their spin on their materials and develop, and they're going to want to pilot courses. And so
I have to say,
we'll
you've got a great team. So there's you, Paul Wilkinson,
Stuart Runs.
Stuart Runs. Have I missed anyone?
I don't think so. I think we've got everybody
I've got all of them.
between the two groups.
That's a really great team. So good luck to you. And I
Thank you
look
very
forward
much.
to seeing the results.
Send all your good thoughts our way. We need the energy.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Great to talk
Thank
to
you.
My pleasure.
Take care.
Thanks.